So, hello everybody, welcome to September, the school is back, right? So, thanks to Ilya and his ideas about talking a little bit about education as well, we are gathered here. So, first slide, I will introduce myself. My name is Jānis Seržants. I have 10 years of experience in software development and 5 years experience in teaching. So, I don't know, it's 15 years or 10 with overtime or something, but yeah, I've worked in several companies, started with Mailigen, then ended up in White Digital, have been in Emergent as well. I see some people from Emergent, been in Localize, see my ex-colleagues, hello. And currently I am working at LMT, Latvia's Mobilized Telephones. And in parallel, I've worked working in Codelex. It's like my second job, it's like a side hustle. And I've been in Datorium for 1 year as well, where I trained programmation Divi to last grade students. So, as I think Ilya briefly mentioned, that actually you need to have like will to teach, to be a teacher. So, my motivation is like, I would say when I was younger, I wanted to do coding and I had no options. I didn't have anyone who can teach me. I didn't have any Harvard courses. I didn't have any fancy YouTube channels or something like that. So I was kind of desperate. And I know this feeling that you want to achieve something, but there is no options for you. And I really do strongly believe that teaching is like contributing back to community. And if we would teach each other more, then we would develop a better society, right? And my start was actually, I kind of wanted to teach something for a long time, maybe because my mother is a teacher and the education itself is a huge value in my family. But the first kick-in started actually when the COVID struck. Remember those times when we had like isolations and these kind of things, and a lot of people were like losing their jobs. Like if you worked in tourism or in cafes or in something related to face-to-face, you probably like end up losing your job, or I don't know, you was in, I don't know, furlough, or how is it called? But anyways, at the same time, the IT industry was blooming. Like there was endless possibilities. Everybody was switching to the IT. There was a lot of job openings. Everybody wanted to like digitalize everything. So I had this idea that, okay, what can I do to help? And then my first idea like struck, maybe I can do a YouTube channel where I will teach something I know, and maybe some people who lost their jobs and they want to change their careers, maybe this can be a kickoff, right? So the idea about YouTube channel born, and I have a YouTube channel, I have filmed like several playlists. I started easy with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then I did a Webpack as well, and GitHub, and I have like TypeScript as well, and specifically TypeScript classes, because there are people who like start coding TypeScript and they instantly want to write classes, like object-oriented thing, right? So this is how they work in TypeScript. I filmed it. And these are the statistics, and the first conclusion we can make is that basically people like founding technologies. Like if you are talking plain simply about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, people tend to like watch videos about them. They want to learn. But when we are like when I am trying to like explain something more difficult like React or I don't know Git, then we see that the interest rate is dropping. And yeah, and actually how JavaScript apmācība Latviešu valodā, it comes from Start IT, I think. They actually put this playlist in their YouTube channel, and this is like referral from their channel. So that's amazing. Yeah, and actually maybe I can tell about few challenges. The few challenges making YouTube videos. The first of it is that I need to ask myself if I know the technology well enough to actually teach someone, because there are a lot of eyes looking at it, right? And some developers might disagree with me or agree with me, and they can start some discussions in the comments, and then I need to respond and everything, because at one point the programming and all of this is subjective. Like, people have their own styles, and then they argue about it. And another struggle for me was to actually convince myself that I explained this topic to really simple, so people who don't have any IT background, they actually understand what I am talking about. And I don't like to explain things complicated, and that's why I really try hard not to complicate things when I'm teaching. And the last challenge I would say is that you always need to be in the place that you don't forget to tell something important, right? If, for example, if you are, I don't know, making a course about JavaScript and you forget to include, I don't know, promises, right? It's really essential thing in JavaScript, and if you forget to actually mention them in your course, then it's kind of not good, right? And then one day I had a phone call from Sandris. He introduced me. Hey, I'm Sandris. I'm from Codelex. He told me a little bit about Codelex. He told that he really appreciates the YouTube content I'm making. And he asked me maybe if I would be willing for a new challenge to train a front-end group for 3 months in Codelex. And then the new journey started. Who have heard about Codelex? Yeah, there are some people. I know that there is one who have finished it and now successfully working as a programmer. So basically, we are a coding school for grown-ups. We teach only grown-ups. We have like 4 technologies. We have front-end, we have Java, we have C#, and we have PHP. And currently, thanks to Codelex, I think there was 400 developers currently working in Latvia who have finished the Codelex courses. I think it's 400, right? Yeah. Yeah, so basically it's a lot. We helped to the we added to the Latvian market like 400 developers, and it actually increased the productivity in the whole economy, I believe. But for you to be the student of Codelex, you first need to attend 4-day lectures who are for free. Basically, you have like introduction into programming, and after those 4 days, if you understand that programming is something you like, then you can actually apply for a big group, the 3-month-long group in one of those technologies. And me, when someone applies to my group, I usually like host 20-minute meeting, and my main goal of the meeting is if the motivation for the person is good enough for me to spend time to him or her, and to see how much is done already for him to be committed to the big group. And this is blurry, but this is basically what I teach in 3 months. We start simply because, as I told you, everybody likes simple start. And then there is like Node.js, React.js, Angular, and Vue.js as well. So basically we cover everything that is hot and what is like needed for the industry, because like studying in Codelex is for free. You don't pay anything. You start paying only when you find a job. So we are forced to give like good education to our students so they can compete in the like job market, right? And some challenges I have in Codelex is, as I mentioned before, whom to teach, because it's not only it's not only about I want to be a developer. I do care about your real motivation. You want to be a developer because there are good salaries, or you want to be a developer because you like problem solving, right? And then there are a bunch of people who actually tells me that they like programming, they want to become a programmers, and I ask them, how much have you done to this day? And they answer nothing. So basically they want to be a programmer, but they haven't done anything yet. So those are kind of my red flags I really do care about. Yeah, then there is challenge, you know, probably in school as well. There are like people who learns really fast, and there are people who learns really slow. And me as a teacher, it's a really huge challenge how to balance it so we don't left behind the slow ones, and we don't slow down the fast ones. So we need to balance, and sometimes we are actually giving harder tasks to the fast ones, and maybe stay a little bit longer and spend extra time to those who struggle to learn a little bit. Another thing, actually, as we work with grown-ups have completely different like discipline, different reason why they want to be a developer. Because, for instance, if we are talking about schools, then more or less children are forced to learn, right? But in this case, the grown-ups, the adults, come to us and ask, please teach me how to program. So they have different motivation, different discipline, and it's much easier to work with them. And if they don't hold their promise and they don't learn, I can just throw them out and say, sorry, you told me that you want to be a developer. I see that you are not like putting enough effort, so we go part ways. All right. And yeah, the teaching up-to-date technology is challenging as well, because when I started like 5 years ago, like CSS Grid was in beta. I don't know, the React was still in class components, and well, basically the front end looked a little bit different than it looks now. So on every group, I need to like teach up-to-date technologies. So I am teaching myself. I'm forced, as Ilya mentioned as well, I'm forced to learn just to teach others, right? And it's a good way how to learn, for reals. Yeah, and my duty as a mentor, as the one who teach programming, is for them to tell and explain why is it important to write a readable code, why is it important to organize your code and everything. Because at the end of the day, if your code is chaotic, for instance, in indentation, if you like write everything in the same like line, then at the end of the day, you don't understand yourself what's written in there. But if you start somehow organizing your code, then you understand it much, much better. Thankfully, there is ESLint and Prettier who kind of does the job for you, but still, it doesn't do everything, right? Yeah, and my observations about teaching in Codelex, it's as I mentioned before, grown-ups have completely different motivation and discipline when they are learning. They really want to suck out everything from me, every knowledge, everything. They are really motivated, and they see why it's needed. Sometimes in school you struggle to explain, why the mathematics is needed. I won't use it in life, but this is a different thing. They know why they need it, right? Because they want to change their careers. Yeah. Yeah, it's already I mentioned, I think this before, but when the topics are simple, everyone is motivated, everybody is participating, everybody is so happy. But when we dig deeper into topics, then the silence comes in the classes. And when the silence it's really essential, it's really crucial to like get questions out of students, because when students ask a question or you force the question out of him, then you kind of can already tell what is happening in his mind, what kind of, when did he stuck, or how does he see this topic and everything. So if you're a teacher or if you ever want to teach, remember, always force them to ask questions, because from questions you will be able to understand how to change something for them to understand better. Yeah. Another thing is, when I actually started 5 years ago, I shared my resources I like about programming with my students, but now I kind of concluded that it's not needed, because there are people who like to read, there are people who like to listen, there are people who like to watch videos. So it's better for them just to tell the title, what you need to learn. At the free time, they find their own resources, and my duty is more like a mentor. In the next lesson, they come to me and ask some follow-up questions, what they struggle with, and I answer to them. Yeah, I know. Okay, next, I want to Yeah, I want to tell about AI, right? I added this slide only today because we had in company I'm working, we had this like lecture about AI, and want to mention this as well. If you are really like starting to learn programming, please avoid artificial intelligence. Don't use it, because I've seen many times throughout my career that actually junior developers, they start using ChatGPT or Copilot, and at the end of the day, they don't understand what is happening in their code, because you can really easily get addicted from these. Because my advice for everybody would be that let's just keep AI for the pros who understand how the code, and then the AI will help them. But if you are like in the baby steps in programming, then there is a good chance that actually you won't understand your own code, and that's a really huge red flag for me. And I'm telling this from my experience. Yes, Robert.
Yeah, so same topic. I had a conversation with one of my coworkers, like I believe it was this week, specifically with this, that this AI tool and stuff is going to generate like a whole generation of developers that are heavily dependent on this. So do you see this issue like becoming reality as well, or like is it already happening? Like
it is already happening, because I've been in Codelex for 5 years, and only last 2 years there is like these AI capabilities. And I see that last two groups are actually, they are getting, well, my first assumption that they are dumber. But actually, when I dug deeper in this topic, then I understood they use AI a lot, and they stop thinking for themselves. I give them homework, they copy paste the homework, and the AI gives the answers, and they naively think that they will read the code what AI gives you, and you will learn and you will understand. It's never happening, right? You need to write the code by yourself, and only then you will have a little bit understanding what's happening in there. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I just wanted to see if you like have this similar kind of opinions like that we had like in our conversation. So basically,
Yeah.
yes.
Actually, I haven't like seen any discussion, but I want actually to have a philosophical discussion about AI and where AI is leading the society. But I hope that at some point I will stuck on to this discussion, and I do care that philosophers what they think about this, because this is not only about me coding faster. This is basically a revolution in the society. So yeah, we need to be ready for it. And the one question what I'm getting asked really often, that at the end of the day, who gets the job? Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't have an answer for it, because I can tell you 3 examples. First example is I had this girl who was like learning at Codelex, Aina, and she had like really strong discipline. She was like always making notes. When at lectures, when I told her about new design patterns or new ways how to write the code, at the next homework I saw this pattern. She was listening. She was like sucking the information, and you could actually really tell that her strength is discipline. And she wrote a CV to Latvenergo, I think. She applied to the backend position, but in the interview she told that okay, she can do backend, but she wants to do frontend, right? And the Latvenergo fell in love with Aina, so they developed a frontend position. Like, okay, we see you're the person we want in company. Your values are aligned with our values. Okay, come work with us. Then I have another example. I have this student called Toms. He's working at Localize. He's colleague with Yevgenis and Dimitris. And he's a good student, but his really strength was charisma. He was like really good with people. He had like speechcraft. He can like talk himself out from everything. And Localize is a company who actually values like soft skills over hard skills. And I like referred him, and everybody at Localize loved him. And Localize hired him, and now, as I understand, he's like growing in career ladder, right? He started as a junior, now he's a mid-level, and basically I haven't seen anyone who doesn't like him because he has this, I don't know, charisma, or, well, you understand what I'm saying, right? He's one of the kind, I would say even. And the third example, I had a student called Edgars. He was self-taught programmer, but he was into game development. So he was big brain guy. And I asked him in the interview, why are you coming to Codelex if you already know how to code? And he was like, look, in Latvia, there is no like game dev vacancies, so I need to learn something new. And in this case, it would be front end. And so I can just find a job as a programmer and keep like game deving at the hobby level. And after like the group is 3 months, after one and a half month, he already got the job offer because he went to the interview where it was really important to be technical smart. He went through this reverse binary tree and these kind of things, if you know what I'm saying, like really technical interviews. And these 3 examples got job for different reasons, right? And I'm not sure if Edgars or Aina would got the job at Localize and vice versa, right? So it depends on the company you're participating to, right? Like sending CV. So there's always a chance for everyone, right? Then I had 1 year this hobby. I wouldn't say hobby. Well, basically I worked in school as well. There was like this conference, or I don't know how to call it, Skola 2022, and Localize was sponsoring this event, and I went there as a speaker, and I met this guy called Elchins, and he's like boss of the Datorium. And Datorium is a program who actually teaches programming at schools, but their model is like they are gathering like, I don't know, 10 schools to chip in for them to hire a professional teacher. So I was this teacher, I had a good salary, but I was teaching like people from 10 different schools at the same time. Everything happened at Zoom. They weren't allowed to speak, they weren't allowed to turn on the cameras or something like that, and the whole communication happened in Discord. So I was like presenting myself in the Zoom, and children were answering to me in the Discord. And when I asked a question, technical question, and they answered the question correctly, I was able to react with the message with a cookie, right? So basically those children were collecting cookies. And why was it important? Because you can exchange those cookies for Amazon gift cards, for PlayStation gift cards. So basically it's a money. It's a money you can get by participating into lectures, by answering questions, by being proactive. And actually, I saw this working, and I really see huge potential to gamify this teaching process at schools. I really witnessed it, and it's amazing. It's amazing. It's really working.
Sorry, I have a question. How do you know, like, what if those children are not good with the answers?
Well, first of all, I see the response time. Okay, if they are really fast to Google it, that's skill as well, right? But you can tell, you can tell. And if they Google, I don't care, they are still like participating, they are still spending time on this topic I'm asking, and it's like writing a note for the exam. You teach by writing, right? Yeah. Yeah, but I can't hear them. The communication is happening in Discord, so they can lie just typing, right? Yeah, and my observations is that actually kids are not that stupid as we think. They are really talented, but only thing we need to grab their attention. If they have focus on something, they will kill it, right? And I really saw this in my students as well. Yeah, and the second thing is that, as I mentioned about grown-ups, the children have completely different motivation. Why are they doing things? For instance, in school, we were scraping web. We were like scraping the Bitcoin value. We were scraping, I don't know, some kind of top news media, and we gathered it into one page. And soon after that, a lot of students wrote me, how can I scrape offers from Steam where CS2 gun skins are cheaper. So basically they wanted to make a scraper which scrapes the discounts with the skins, and then they wanted to buy them and sell them. Well, they saw how to solve a problem, but it wasn't necessarily related to getting a job. They just had a hobby. They see how can they automate things, and that's what motivated them. And I saw it, and that's my experience, right? And yeah, the final conclusion is that everyone can learn how to program. Everybody. I haven't seen a single person who can't learn programming. If you know how to speak in Latvian or English or in Russian, it's already more complicated than actually learning how to program. So stop making excuses and start learning. Yeah, thank you. Yes, Ilya.
I want to go first, yeah. So, question about syllabus, about the program. So probably in Codelex, you are given the sub-program, right? And basically you're not on your own when you are kind of deciding the task, or is it different? And how much effect you can actually affect this?
Well, I like that Sandris from Codelex, who is owner, he has like full trust into his employees. So I developed this whole program myself. He just told me, look, I will give you people, you need to train them so they can get a job. And it's up to me, because I'm a professional as well. I work like 10 years of experience. I have like understanding what is up to date in the industry. So I make my own program. I teach what I think what is necessary for them to land the first job.
But do you, you have like more teachers, or basically there's some group of teachers, and do you interchange those programs with inside, or do you have like some common standard and then like?
No, it's basically every like teacher by himself. Sometimes, for instance, in the backend groups, they ask me to give a small lecture about frontend. Right, but I don't need for other backend developers to teach a little bit backend, because at the end of the course we are already touching the Node.js, Express. We are making our own controllers and these kind of things. So it's completely up to teacher.
Yeah. Okay. Then maybe a short one. So how much resources, time, like skills it takes you to form one task? Probably you have like whole internet to you. Of course, but how do you pick, like, from your experience?
Yeah, well, actually, I have a helper. So we are two. There is me who are actually making the lectures and everything, and then my helper is actually preparing the homeworks. I'm helping and guiding him the topics we need to cover in the homeworks. But yeah, usually it's based on like experience from previous group. So I remember in previous group I made a good homework, so we can reuse it. But usually I do it on top of my head, because I feel the group, I feel the struggling topics they have. It's not like all groups struggle with the same thing, right? Some struggle to understand what is a state in React, and some struggle how can you pass a function as an argument to a function, right? So you need to be flex in that. Yes.
You mentioned 400 people found a job, so I'm curious about how many people came into the free part and how many actually made it to the courses, and then how many actually.
Well, actually, I don't have this kind of data, because it's happening already, I think, for 5 years, and these like 4-day courses are happening every month. So I don't know. As I understood at the beginning, there were like 300 people every month like participating in this 4-day lecture, and then they were like applying for the big groups. But now the numbers are decreasing. I don't know, because we finished the Latvian market, or there are no one who wants to learn coding anymore. But yeah, at the beginning there were a lot of people. Now they are less and less and less and less. Yeah, I hope I answered your question. Yeah, Datorium.
What was the kid's age?
The last grade. Basically, I prepared them for exam, and that's why I asked the question to Ilya. How does he feel that we are kind of stuck in preparing them for exam because the government is telling us what we need to like teach them. And at the end of the day, the one topic was object-oriented programming, right? I'm a JavaScript developer. OOP is not in there, right? And so I was forced actually to like teach them classes, even I don't use them on daily basis, and there was like a conflict with me and the government requirements. And yeah, but at the end of the day, still, I kind of briefly went through the OOP, and then we started making some interesting things like, I don't know, applications where we can like put together our own pizzas, or I don't know, some web scrapers and these kind of things. So yeah, I wasn't like the best teacher from the government's perspective, but I hope I was a good teacher from the children perspective.
How do you force students to ask questions?
Well, okay, I'm not pro at this, but I know this another lecturer at Codelex. He has this spin, and in the spin you have like student names, and you spin the wheel, and which name lands, he needs to ask a question no matter what. Because remember, at Codelex, if we feel that you are not engaging enough, or if you are not studying enough, we can just throw you out, right? We want to work only with motivated people, and then the questions are coming out. And you know, a lot of people tend to be shy, and they will never ask a question even they have one. So we are forced to like get the questions out of them, and really it's productive. You can really like understand what's happening in their minds. So I really recommend it when you are teaching someone, just force them questions.
Have you tried electricity?
Yes, now it happened like 4 years ago, and it's banned now.
Was popular in Vietnam.
So any more questions?
How much do you have to pay to Codelex if the person who finished your course can find job?
Who can't?
Yeah.
If you don't find a job, you don't pay anything.
How much do you have to pay to Codelex because they paid you?
Well, I didn't finish learning at Codelex, right? So they didn't like made me as a developer. I was developer before. Yeah, I know, and I'm answering you honestly.
No, you didn't answer my question.
I did.
No,
I don't need to.
My question is, how much do you have to pay to Codelex if the people whom you trained, they cannot find a job? So
0.
that's not fair.
Now, well, basically, if I have a group with 20 people and only like 5 of them would find a job, then I will probably lose a job as well, right?
Let's try this out.
That's a great motivation, actually. It's a correct motivation.
Exactly.
Wait, how many do people pay that do find a job? Is it
20% for 2 years. You need to make 24 payments. But it's crystal clear to everybody. It's not like hidden or something. Before you like make agreement with Codelex, then we forwardly explain you the rules, right?
It's actually super cheap. If somebody can change his career and pays like 2 salaries,
Well, we can ask Roberts what do he think about that he needed to pay 20% for 2 years. Was it expensive, cheap? Was it okay?
No, it's when you have to take from your hard pocket money, then it's expensive always.
Yeah.
But if we think from
I disagree, because the value was there, and like, I would say it's cheap.
okay,
Yeah, and after 2 years you get 20% increase in your salary because you don't need to pay anymore.
Also, you can like send those expenses to the government, and they're gonna like repay you over
I'm
time.
messing around. Okay.
And we are. Thank you.